Every day is a new beginning. Shine your light. It's a day and the world is waiting. Move along to the song, singing in your soul. Feel the beat, clap your hands, let's take control. All you need, all you want, are you ready to find your way? 'Cause every day is a new day.
Welcome to Wisconsin Family. I'm Janet Cresson.
And I'm Justin Riley, and I'm pretty excited because this is our first time filming at Prairieland Towing out in Sun Prairie. And this is kind of a cool place because I'm guessing that 100% of our viewers probably recognize this truck or one something like it. It's incredible the amount of detail that they put into making their trucks memorable. It's just very cool, and they have a huge fleet.
Boy, and they are memorable too.
Yeah.
I was driving here with a little white-knuckled because I forgot to fill the gas tank last night. And I kept thinking, how ironic would that be that
You broke down a block down the road?
yeah, we'd have the chute right by the side of my car.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect, perfect. Ken wouldn't mind driving out there. So we're going to talk with those folks later on in the show. Todd is actually going to be with us. I understand that he wasn't planning on it, but he, as happenstance, he is going to be with us today. So we're excited about that. You'll get a chance to talk with those folks.
The owner of Prairieland Towing, that's
Yep,
right.
yep.
We're also meeting with our friend Chris Martingilio of Martingilio Martial Arts, talking about conceal and carry and how he helps folks do it safely. And
there's so many more things that are considerations
Yeah.
to knowing how to properly handle firearms or really weapons of any kind, and we're going to learn about that. He really has some fantastic insights, right down to, where exactly on your belt or wherever are you going to, place your weapon if you are going to carry one.
a lot of details I think we forget about.
Yep. And we'll also learn a little bit about some really fantastic antiques with Stefan Osdeen from Cambridge Gold and Antiques. So that's coming up right after the show. You won't want to miss it. There's a really expensive Rolex watch coming up right after the break here on Wisconsin Family, so stick with us.
'Cause every day is a new day. 'Cause every day is a new day.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Family. We are here at Prairieland Towing here in Sun Prairie. It's a little bit chilly, but the sun is warm, so I'm hoping that sun moves in
I'll
a
take
little
it.
bit.
I'll take it.
If you're interested or have any interest in antiques, you'll want to stick around for this segment. We're joined now by Stefan Osdeen, who is the owner of Cambridge Gold and Antiques. How are you, Stefan?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on the show today.
So let's start off by tell viewers a little bit about your shop.
Yeah, I started Cambridge Gold and Antiques about 6 months ago. It's the evolution of a business I've been running for the past 10 or 15 years.
Sure.
In fact, and it's a full-service antique store, but there's a very strong specialty in vintage wristwatches,
Sure.
old fountain pens, gold, silver, things like that, as well as antique signs like this nice 1950s Royal Crown Cola sign down there,
Yeah.
and also antique electric fans, which I personally collect.
Wow.
So-
Yeah, I've seen some pictures of your place, and you have quite a few of these.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is an Emerson from 1903, and it still works, which is
Okay.
amazing to think, 114 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's really neat. So, Stefan, your specialty then is the fans and watches?
Well, fans and watches are my two biggest passions. I sell anything and everything. I love to buy all sorts of different antiques, but those are the two areas that I've really focused on, as well as old Parker pens, which
Parker,
were made in
that's cool.
Janesville.
Janesville, Wisconsin.
No
Yes.
kidding, no kidding.
Yeah, that's a classic 51, made in probably in the late 40s to early 50s on this example.
And I'm just amazed by these watches, because some of these watches, I mean, they still look new. I mean, if I would get this out of the box, I would assume that this is a brand new watch.
Yeah, well, you know what? That watch is actually 44 years old,
Wow.
give or take.
Wow, and it's a real Rolex, too.
Yes, yeah, it's a 1973 GMT2 Master. So
Wow.
I'm always out looking to buy. So if you have things you want to sell, I do free appraisals.
Nice.
And I can help you evaluate a collection. I can help you disperse a collection.
That's
and I'm
cool.
always after new pieces for my own
Sure.
collection as well.
Sure. Now, you were recently featured on the TV show American Pickers.
Yeah, that was a fun.
Yeah, tell us a little bit
opportunity.
about that.
All right, well, it actually happened a few years ago. My wife saw that the Pickers were coming to town, and I said, well, I had to try for this, and so I went through 3 rounds of interviews. They sent out 3 different scouts, and they said, well, you've got a really odd collection, old electric fans. That might make a good segment. And so June of 2015, we filmed, and I think it came out 3 or 4 months later, and
Okay.
then they even called me back to ask for advice on old electric motors.
That's cool.
It's kind of fun.
cool.
What a fun experience.
Oh, it was a blast.
So, Stefan, I bet everybody's got something at home. They're kind of curious what it's worth. And you
Yeah.
mentioned you do free appraisals.
Oh, yes,
Can you
definitely.
tell us how that works?
Well, I'm typically only open by chance for appointments since I'm out buying and a lot of my business is online. But you set up an appointment with me. You call me at the number that you guys are going to provide, which is 607-339-1212. You give me a call, and I will make sure that I'm at the shop, or I can come to your house. I'll take a look at the item. I'll try to find comps on what it would have sold for, similar pieces, and tell you a little bit about the history and probably make an offer too.
That's always fun to hear the history part.
But I can also do free verbal appraisals, and I will do written appraisals for a small fee.
That's
So
cool.
for insurance purposes, if you need some help, I'm here.
That's good to know, too.
And we've talked a little bit, outside the show. You have kind of a background in art and art history. And so
Yeah.
forth, and that's kind of helped develop your eye, so to
A
speak.
little bit, yeah. I did my PhD in art history at UW-Madison. Finished that up in 2014.
Dr. Osdean.
Well, yeah, but I'm a doctor of junk. That's what I like to say. I'm a doctor of junk.
I love it. I love it.
Philosophize about junk. So
So, obviously we're on the show Wisconsin Family. So how can families, discuss how you can help families evaluate and sell their heirlooms? And so
oh
forth.
yeah. I mean, I think it kind of ties into the whole free appraisal thing. You can bring items, or I can come to your house and I can help you understand what you have, as well as the historical importance. I mean, there may be a piece that your great-great-grandmother had that you want to pass down to the next generation. Well, I can help research the piece, write up a little blurb, not just for insurance purposes, but for the family. So there's like a real tangible interaction with history, and I can
Yeah.
provide that. Plus, it's always cool to bring families into a shop and see things from the past
Yeah.
that maybe they wouldn't normally see.
Sure.
We're usually open Saturdays, which is, of course, a big day for family outings. And
Sure, yeah.
We're right on Highway 12 in Cambridge, so
Very cool. So as you're passing through, stop on by.
please.
Makes me think of when someone's got some little trinket, they don't know the value,
Yes.
and the fun times when it's the wow factor of, wow, it's
Yeah.
really worth, so much more than they maybe had ever
Right, I mean, some of these
anticipated.
things, I mean, this little Rolex watch here, I mean, about worth around $7,500 to $8,000.
Oh my goodness.
So if you have your grandfather's Rolex sitting in the drawer, bring it on by.
Yeah.
I help you. And there's some that are worth $100,000 and $200,000. So
Ooh,
you may
okay.
be sitting on one of those, and I'd be very happy to see you if you are.
We only have about 30 seconds left. Just briefly, you do repairs too?
I can help get these repaired. I have a source. I have numbers of sources of people who can work on watches. I can repair fans myself, but I don't usually have the time. I love working on fans, and I have a whole variety of parts. So these I can restore myself. But
Real quick before we go, I'm just curious, what's the farthest you will travel to source inventory?
well, that's a tough question because sometimes it's inventory, sometimes it's items from my own collection. But I drove all the way out to Montana last summer to get a piece.
Stefan
Western
Osdean from
Montana.
Cambridge Gold and Antiques, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey,
Thanks
thank
for the
you.
education. Doc. We'll be right back with more Wisconsin Family after the break.
'Cause every day is a new day.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Family. We are here at Prairie Land Towing, and as you can see, we're standing in front of a really colorful truck.
They have the superhero theme.
Thing
I
going
know, I
on.
was blinded by the lights for a second. Superhero theme. Maybe we can learn why.
Yeah,
that
we'll learn
is.
about that later on in the show. But first, we have our own resident superhero on set with us. This is Chris Martingilio from Martingilio Martial Arts. How are you?
Thank you for that intro. I appreciate that.
You bet. So we're going to talk about something that some would say is somewhat of a controversial
It
topic.
is, yep.
Concealed carry.
Yep.
So you are obviously, you actually are a weapons instructor. You
Yes.
teach people how to
Yep.
properly use these weapons for their own defense. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, so first I'm a National Rifle Association instructor.
Sure.
So they're really the only group in the country that really trains people to teach this kind of a class. Gun safety, proper gun handling, they even do how to reload bullets. I mean, there are lots of courses. But what I focus on is the actual carrying and the safety part of that game. And as it relates to martial arts, we have to actually train people not just which gun is the coolest gun or which knife or which stick we're going to carry. It's how can you be very safe
Right.
in that application, and what is right for you as a person that's looking to protect themselves with that kind of a weapon.
So what's an example of being safe in that application?
Good question.
It is a good question. Well, first is just proper gun handling. You know, I've trained a lot of people, even when we're using the plastic guns to just train with, that they don't know where to point that gun.
Right.
I mean, that's just first example. Is like,
Right.
you know, you can't just because you got the gun, you're not safe. You have to understand how to handle it, where to point it.
Yeah.
You know,
You don't want to be Barney Fifing it, in other words.
No, I mean, and it's easy to go to a range and stand there and get some instruction on pointing that gun down range and shooting. But there's nowhere in Wisconsin really to find instruction on how to draw that weapon, where to carry it, what side of the body to carry it on.
Yeah.
Should it have an angle on it? Which holster should you have?
Wow.
And so I mean, there's so many questions on that. You know, you go to the gun store, they all want to sell you a very fancy, expensive gun. That's not the right way to approach that kind of thing. And so I offer a lot of guidance on that particular topic. What's right for you? What are the clothes you're wearing? How can you be safe in drawing that gun, or even, you know, storing that gun based on how you live your lifestyle?
Right, right. And obviously, if you're like wearing a dress, maybe a holster underneath the dress probably wouldn't be the best fit.
And it's kind of funny that you say that, but there are people that they think, well, I'll just stuff this here and I'll be
Right.
fine. And it's a really valid question, because people don't know that right answer.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of details that I imagine a lot of people don't even think about.
They don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you train people how to use those weapons under stress? Because it's one thing to be
Yes.
at a firing range when you're
Yes.
calm, but another one when the adrenaline is rushing, or maybe
Right.
you're out of breath, you've been running, or...
Right, so we use airsoft so that we can actually do live fire. There are airsoft guns that are almost identical to a real live fire weapon. They act the same, they sound the same. I mean, they don't have the punch, but they're just plastic BBs. But we're able to do things in that environment that we could never do at a gun range. Gun range does not want people drawing from their holsters, because they make mistakes when they're learning.
Yeah.
And as they pull out, they shoot the floor, which ricochets to the ceiling and hits a wall. It's unsafe, so we use airsoft.
Yeah.
We use blue guns so that we can actually train those applications. We use there's a system we teach called Modern Arnis. It's a Filipino system of stick and blade fighting.
Okay.
In the state of Wisconsin, we can use a collapsible baton. We can use a knife. There's a lot of weapons choices, and so we have plastic weapons and we have foam weapons, and we do everything we can to produce stress in a safe environment where we can practice how to use that weapon and retain that weapon without compromising our own
Right.
safety or somebody else's around us.
Right. And, you know, one of the things that you teach at Martin Giglio Martial Arts is kind of the cornerstone of what you do is practical self-defense applications.
yes.
So my question is, have you ever had any of your students need to use any of these, what they learn from the courses?
No. We have so far. I've been very lucky in that, myself included. I have never had to pull out a weapon in any
Right.
way, shape, or form, because
Right.
we're proactive in self-defense.
Right.
You know, if you feel this is something you need, we want to make sure that you've got the right training, not just that you saw the cool gun at the store or you want that great big knife. You got to make better decisions than that. This is proactive. You got to be safe before you go to the store and start thinking, I'm going to just stuff this in my pocket and I'm going to be good.
Right. And it's another level of confidence, too. I mean, the whole self-defense, you know, some of the things that, the real simple maneuvers that you demonstrated on me
Yeah.
a few weeks ago, you know, it's just kind of it's building confidence that, you know, if something would arise,
Yeah.
I'm protected, I'm safe. And
Yeah.
I think that's just another layer.
It's another layer. You know, and I take you sometimes 6 months to a year with a person before I even recommend that they carry.
Yeah.
You know, I'll go to the range with them over and over and over again, just working on basic safety. If they can't keep their finger off the trigger when they're picking up their gun, we're going to just do that over and
yeah.
over and over again. You know, I also teach the class to get your concealed carry weapon, which is just basically it's a gun safety class that's required by the state of Wisconsin. And when it's a 4-hour class, and when I'm done with that class, everyone, whether they've been a gun person or not, I've learned something new here,
Right,
because
yeah.
they're not considering all those other details of safety and the proper use of the weapon.
Right.
Important topic.
Really
Yeah.
important topic.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Chris Martin-Giglio, we always learn so much from you. Thanks for coming on
Thank
today.
you.
We're out of time already. Can't believe it.
Yeah, I know.
There'll be more Wisconsin Family coming up right after the break here at Prairie Land Towing. Stick around.
'Cause every day is a new day. 'Cause every day is a new day.
And welcome back to Wisconsin Family. Justin and I have been in Sun Prairie today at Prairie Land Towing, and this is our final segment with the guys at Prairie Land Towing. With me, I have Eric, Mike, and Todd Menzel here, the head dog at Prairie Land Towing. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Superheroes on the road. Let's get started, Todd, about some of the services that Prairie Land offers.
Well, Eric can help us with that.
We actually do roadside service, whether it's at your home, local business. We do anything from tire changes to unlocking vehicles to battery replacing, also heavy duty to light duty services, from accident recoveries as a minor one-car accident to a semi-tractor trailer rolled over, spillage. We clean that all up. We actually also have a full-size auto facility that's AAA approved, and we have authorized through Napa Auto Care Center also.
Well, good grief, I think we could do a whole segment just on the services you offer. And I think there's a lot of things in there that people forget about. Actually, just yesterday at the office, someone was getting a tow. I think we think of the side of the road a lot and forget that you might need help at your home or your office. And then there are the cleanup services, too, that I thought was interesting in your mention. Is this a question for Todd?
Yes, this is a question.
Yeah, I'm thinking, how did you get started? I am curious about why the superheroes on the side of the trucks. These are really gorgeous tow trucks.
Well, first of all, we started in about 1984. My father started the business, and he passed away when we were pretty young, about 12 and 14. My mother, Jeannie, has been all part of the business all along, and she continued the image and the vision. My brother and I continue to help with the operations and grow the operations. We've been in Sun Prairie for a long time, and we have operations throughout Wisconsin, Sun Prairie, Stoughton, Milwaukee, Wisconsin as well. And we have a few operations in Iowa. So we're in Des Moines, North Liberty, and Council Bluffs too. So all across Wisconsin and Iowa, we have facilities that help you out in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, I did not know that. And I have seen one of your trucks that says "in loving memory of Dad."
Absolutely. Every truck, every vehicle we have has that saying on there.
Oh, okay. And I didn't know you were in Iowa too. You've been a busy guy. Let's talk about response time. I think that's always a big concern for folks. Is there an average that you can?
Yeah, I mean, typically, we try to respond as safe and as fast as possible to every call. Typical response times on any day, usually like 30 to 45 minutes for just somebody at their house or whatnot. Nothing that's urgent. And then police calls or accidents, we tend to try to be there 10 to 15 minutes.
Definitely a priority, I would think.
Absolutely.
Is that something that changes with the season? So, like in winter, there's just more calls?
Yeah,
Or-
and traffic's moving slower, so obviously we have to avoid that. And then the secondary accidents are a big thing too. So anytime that we're coming up on an accident scene, you always got to worry about everything downstream.
And that's what you mean by secondary accident.
Right.
And are you two guys, are all three of you someone that could be in the truck that's pulling up?
Absolutely.
Good to know.
Could be.
Could be.
Would be.
Important stuff here. What if someone's involved in an accident? What advice do you have?
So if you're involved in a crash, first and foremost, remember that the lane of travel is not the safest place to be. So if you're in the middle of the traffic, in the middle of the lane, we have a steer it clear law in Wisconsin. That means if you're at all possible to move your vehicle, steer your vehicle to the shoulder and get out of the actual live traffic. So a lot of people have the old school way of thinking of, I'm going to leave my vehicle exactly where it is. I want the police to show up and decide what exactly happened. The police, fire, and EMS, they all have the technology and the knowledge and the wherewithal to understand what happened and how the situation went down. So please move your vehicle if you possibly can. Second of all is know where you are. Know your surroundings. You're going to call 911, make sure you're okay. Let them know exactly where you are. If you have a landmark, if you know the last exit you passed, those are all important things to contact emergency services and let them know if there's any injuries and whatnot. Beyond that is to give some space between you and a potential secondary crash like Soup talked about. A secondary crash is a crash that we have a little more control over, meaning that if the vehicle is not in the lane of traffic, if we move the vehicle out of lane of traffic, that secondary crash might not happen. If we remove ourselves from being so close to live traffic, we may not get hit again. So give yourself some space. Inside your vehicle may be a safe place, but it may not be. So walk into the ditch line, walk further away from the roadway, get away from where those potential accidents are going to happen again and again. And then, of course, know who you're going to call. So before the accident occurs, have a Google Place page or a business card of who you're going to call, so you know exactly your son, daughter, wife, husband, anybody that gets in an accident, they know who to call. So it is your vehicle, and you do have a choice of who transports your vehicle after the accident.
So when you say knowing who to call, are you saying like have it ahead of time as a contact in your phone? Or?
Exactly, either a contact or just even print off a Google Places page and put it in your glove box with your registration card or your insurance card. So when you're in that situation, you're frantic, you're not thinking clearly, you want to give that officer or that particular emergency responder information of where you want your vehicle to go.
I think that's a really good idea. I hadn't thought about that. And it is so true. When you're involved in something like that, you're shaken up.
Absolutely.
And it helps if you have things already in line and in place to look at. So why choose Prairieland? There's other tow companies out there besides the good-looking trucks.
Right, and the good-looking guys. Well, it's a second-generation family-owned business. I've been here a long time, working with these guys. We strive every day to treat everybody else within the community world like family. We try to make ease any situation that people are in because they're haywire. They don't know how to respond to things. So we try to calm them down and put a smile on their face by the end of the day, and just relieve the pressure from them.
How long have you been with Prairieland Towing?
I've been this is going on my 10th year. So
Wow, okay.
they treat me well, and it's a good family place to work.
Boy, there's a lot of value not only to your experience in the work itself, but helping people, knowing what it's like for them to be in that situation and nervous, unsure, maybe, I don't know, scared,
Right.
I guess.
The best. We get a lot of thank yous, and you get the little old lady that gives you the hug, and it just makes your day because you know that you made their day, and you.
Or the
made-
best of a bad situation,
right,
at least.
The best you could, right. So usually I get people laughing by the end of the tow, and they love it. So.
Or by the end of this interview.
Yeah, right.
Eric, how long have you been with Prairieland?
I've been around for 11 years now. I've started right at the bottom, brought myself to the top, and I enjoy working here, especially with these guys. We're a family here, and just like we want to treat everyone else like a family and make them feel great and comfortable, and at the end of the day, as long as they're happy, that's what really counts here.
Excellent. I'm sure the boss is happy to hear that too.
And we've been around since 1984, so we're not going anywhere,
Yeah.
and plan on making things good.
Alrighty. Anything else you want to add, Todd? We have just a little bit of time left.
Just remember, Prairieland Towing, 877-4TOW now. Put it in your phone, put it in your glove box, put it wherever you need to have it, because we'll be there when you need us the most.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Todd, so much for having us here. Can I get a tour of the trucks later?
Absolutely,
All right.
absolutely.
And thanks to all of our guests. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Wisconsin Family.
The beat, clap your hands, let's take